Picture this. You're standing in the TV aisle at Best Buy, Costco, Walmart, or Target. Every screen looks incredible. The colors are brighter than real life. The demos are perfectly tuned. The sale tags are promising you hundreds of dollars in savings, and you're already measuring the wall in your head where this thing is going to live. So you buy it. You get it home. You mount it. You power it on. And then a terms of service screen appears. And it's longer than most novels you'll never finish. So you do what almost every single person does. You scroll to the bottom, you tap accept all, and you move on with your life. What most buyers don't realize is that the real transaction wasn't finished at the checkout counter. Modern smart TVs aren't just displays anymore. They are software platforms. Many of them collect viewing analytics, advertising data, device information, voice interactions, and content recognition data that quietly builds an advertising profile on you. Long after the delivery guys have left and you've forgotten the whole setup process ever happened. And here's something that makes it even trickier. Just like retailers use exclusive model numbers to make comparison shopping harder than it needs to be, TV manufacturers often bury the most important privacy choices inside settings menus that the average owner will never once visit. Some TVs give you real, meaningful control over what leaves your home. Others are designed around advertising and engagement from the very first screen you see. Today, we're ranking 6 major TV brands you'll find at every major retailer, starting with the worst privacy traps and working our way up to the ones that are actually worth your money and your trust. Let's get into it. Rank number 6, Amazon Fire TV. The TV that treats your screen like part of Amazon's ecosystem. Coming in at number 6 is Amazon Fire TV. And before anyone in the comments comes after me, let me be clear. Amazon builds excellent consumer technology. The Alexa integration is genuinely useful. The interface is smooth. The hardware, especially on the Omni Mini LED lineup, is more capable than people give it credit for. But Amazon's core business is not selling you a television. Amazon's core business is data, advertising, recommendations, and keeping you inside an ecosystem that knows as much about you as possible. And when you understand that, the Fire TV experience starts to look a little different. Fire TV integrates deeply with Amazon's advertising systems right from the first setup screen. Multiple data sharing and usage settings are enabled by default, which means if you never go looking for them, they are quietly running in the background from day one. The home screen is loaded with promotional content, recommendations, sponsored placements, content Amazon wants you to watch, not necessarily what you actually want to watch. Picture quality on the Omni Mini LED is respectable. You'll get solid HDR performance, and it's not a bad-looking television by any stretch. But when you compare it directly against similarly priced TCL and Hisense models, the picture performance often trails behind. So you're not even getting a trade-off where the privacy situation is offset by the best picture in the class. You're getting middling performance inside an ecosystem built to monetize your attention. Owners who already live inside Amazon's world, who use Prime, who love Alexa, who are already comfortable with the way Amazon works, tend to be satisfied. But even among those users, the most common complaints are about excessive promotions and recommendations that never quite feel like they're there for your benefit. The verdict on Amazon Fire TV is this: it's a smart TV first and a television second. If that trade-off works for you, go in with your eyes open. If it doesn't, there are much better options further up this list. Rank number 5, Samsung, the premium TV giant with a surprisingly aggressive data strategy. At number 5, we have Samsung. And this one surprises a lot of people because Samsung is genuinely one of the best TV manufacturers on the planet. The QN90F delivers outstanding brightness. The Mini LED local dimming is among the best in the business, gaming performance is exceptional. Build quality is strong, firmware support is consistent, and the displays themselves are hard to argue with. So why is Samsung sitting at number 5? Because Samsung's advertising and viewing analytics ecosystem is significantly larger than most buyers ever realize. Samsung has an advanced viewing information system built into its TVs that supports ad targeting. The home screen advertising has expanded noticeably over the years. More banners, more promoted content, more placements that exist because an advertiser paid for them. Privacy settings do exist inside the menus, but they're not exactly front and center. They're sitting behind layers of sub-menus that the average buyer is never going to dig through after unboxing day. The problem with Samsung is that the premium hardware actually works against consumer awareness. When the picture looks that good, when the TV feels that polished and well-made, it's very easy to assume that everything about the experience is in your best interest. And mostly, it is. But not entirely. Most Samsung owners love the picture quality and the responsiveness of the Tizen operating system. The complaints that come up consistently are about the growing amount of promotional content on the home screen. Content that clearly isn't there for the viewer's benefit. The verdict on Samsung is straightforward. Fantastic picture. Less fantastic if you never check your privacy menu. And most people never will. Rank number 4, TCL, the value king that quietly powers millions of data-connected living rooms. At number 4, we have TCL. And this one is complicated because TCL's value proposition is genuinely hard to ignore. The QM8K offers flagship-level brightness at a price point that makes premium brands uncomfortable. Strong HDR impact, excellent gaming value, and an aggressive price tag that wins over budget shoppers every single week. But here's where it gets important, especially if you're buying TCL. The privacy experience depends heavily on which operating system you end up with. TCL sells TVS running Roku TV and TVS running Google TV, and those are two meaningfully different experiences. Roku-based models rely heavily on advertising revenue. Roku's entire platform is built around that model, which means the data collected from what you watch, what you search, and how you interact with the interface has real commercial value to the people running it. Google TV versions bring a different set of data collection tied to Google's broader ecosystem. Neither version is particularly bad, but neither one is transparent about it by default either. What makes TCL a complicated recommendation for budget shoppers specifically is that the low price encourages impulse purchases. You see the brightness spec, you see the price tag, you tap accept on the setup screen, and that's it. The privacy settings that would give you more control are sitting there waiting to be explored. But the people most likely to buy TCL based on price are also the people least likely to spend time in the settings menu afterward. Buyers consistently love the brightness and the value. The concerns that come up are around panel consistency between units and occasional firmware issues that take time to get resolved. The verdict on TCL, one of the best TV bargains available, if you understand what you're opting into before you sign on. Let's pause for a second because there's something most people shopping for TVs have never heard. Most buyers assume their smart TV only knows what they're watching through Netflix or Disney+. But many smart TVs can identify content coming from your cable box, your streaming stick, your game console, anything plugged into HDMI. That's content recognition technology doing its job quietly in the background while you're watching a game or a movie you had no idea was being identified and logged. And here's something else the retailers definitely aren't advertising. Exclusive model numbers, the ones you see only at specific stores, often make it impossible to directly compare what you're buying against the model that was reviewed online. Bigger price cuts can sometimes be hiding a weaker processor, lower peak brightness, or fewer local dimming zones than the version that scored well in the review you read. If this already saved you from a bad TV deal, hit subscribe. The next 3 might shock you. Rank number 3, Hisense. The performance bargain that's getting harder to ignore. At number 3, we have Hisense. And if you haven't been paying attention to Hisense over the last couple of years, it's time to start. The U8QG is delivering HDR brightness numbers that were sitting in flagship-only territory just a few years ago. Local dimming performance is strong. Google TV gives you an interface that's familiar, relatively easy to navigate, and not built from the ground up around advertising in the way that Roku is. Pricing is aggressive in a way that puts genuine pressure on brands that charge significantly more. The privacy situation on Hisense is not perfect. No smart TV operating system is, but the software experience is more straightforward than what you'll find on Amazon or Samsung. The settings are there. The controls are accessible. It doesn't feel like the interface was designed to steer you away from turning things off. Where Hisense still has work to do is on the consistency side. Quality control has improved meaningfully over the past few years, but Hisense still receives more panel variation complaints than Sony does at the top of this list. Some buyers get a flawless unit. Others deal with backlight uniformity issues or minor calibration inconsistencies that require attention out of the box. Owners consistently praise the brightness, the value, and the overall image quality. The concerns are usually about consistency rather than the television's core performance. The verdict on Hisense: not perfect, but incredibly difficult to beat for the money. If budget is your primary constraint and picture performance is your priority, Hisense belongs at the top of your shortlist. Rank number 2, LG, the OLED leader that gives users more control than most. At number 2, we have LG. And LG earns this spot by doing something that sounds simple, but is actually rare in this category, giving users relatively clear, accessible control over the data settings that matter most. LG still collects analytics. LG still has an advertising layer inside WebOS. This isn't a TV company that has walked away from that business model entirely, but the major tracking features can be disabled without requiring a support ticket or 45 minutes digging through nested submenus. The privacy controls are more visible, more clearly labeled, and more reachable for an average buyer who decides they want to take 5 minutes to understand what they've agreed to. On the hardware side, the C5 OLED delivers outstanding contrast, black levels that LCD technology simply cannot match, HDR accuracy that makes streaming content look the way filmmakers actually intended it to look, gaming features that put LG at the top of the list for anyone who plays seriously, low input lag, 120 Hz refresh rates, and VRR support that works the way it's supposed to. WebOS remains responsive and well organized. It doesn't feel like the interface is working against you. Long-term reliability on LG's OLED lineup has a mature, consistent track record. These are televisions people keep and enjoy for years without major issues. Owners routinely praise picture quality and gaming performance. The most common frustrations are about WebOS occasionally pushing content recommendations a bit harder than some users would prefer. But those can be managed with the same accessible settings that make LG a better privacy story than most of its competitors. The verdict on LG: a premium TV that gives users more meaningful control than most people expect when they buy a smart TV today. Rank number 1. Sony, the best balance between performance, reliability, and user trust. And at number 1, we have Sony. Sony is not a perfect privacy company. No television manufacturer on this list is. But Sony's implementation of Google TV feels less centered on advertising and more focused on the actual viewing experience. And that difference shows up in real, day-to-day ownership in ways that matter. The privacy controls through Google TV are clear The interface doesn't feel like it's engineered to steer you toward watching more, buying more, or sharing more. The home screen exists to help you find content, not to sell you things. When you sit down to watch something on a Sony TV, the television largely gets out of the way and lets you watch, which sounds like the minimum bar for a product you paid this much money for. But it's apparently harder to deliver than most manufacturers make it look. On the hardware side, Sony's image processing is the best in the category. The Bravia 7 offers exceptional mini LED performance with processing that handles motion, color, and upscaling better than any competitor at a similar price point. The Bravia 8 II delivers premium OLED quality with the same class-leading processing underneath it. Sports content, in particular, benefits from Sony's motion handling in a way that owners notice immediately and comment on consistently. Build quality is strong. Firmware support is consistent. Quality control is reliable enough that panel variation complaints are significantly less common than with some of the value brands lower on this list. Think of Sony as the TV equivalent of a good contractor. It shows up, does exactly what it's supposed to do, doesn't overcharge you for things you didn't ask for, and doesn't call you 6 months later trying to sell you something else. Owners praise picture accuracy, sports performance, and long-term reliability more consistently than any other brand in this category. The verdict on Sony: the TV most likely to disappear into your wall and simply let you enjoy the content you came to watch. Top 3 recap. Let's bring it back together quickly. At number 3, the Hisense U8 QG, flagship brightness at a price point that's genuinely hard to argue with. Excellent HDR performance. Better value than brands charging significantly more. If budget is your constraint, this is where to start. At number 2, the LG C5 OLED. Stunning contrast and black levels. Gaming performance that's among the best available. User-friendly privacy controls that make it easier to stay in control of your data. A strong reliability track record across years of ownership. And at number 1, the Sony Bravia 7 and Bravia 8 II. The best image processing in the category, an operating system experience that feels like it was built for the viewer. A balance of performance, transparency, and long-term ownership satisfaction that no other brand on this list currently matches. After going through all 6 brands, a pattern comes through clearly. At the bottom of this list are the ecosystems most heavily tied to advertising, ongoing engagement, and data collection as a core part of the business model. These are not necessarily bad televisions, but many of the people who own them have no idea how much information is quietly leaving their living room every single day, because they clicked accept all during setup and never looked back. In the middle of the list are brands that offer tremendous value but require a buyer who's willing to pay attention. Paying attention to which operating system a model is running. Paying attention to the specific model number being sold at that specific retailer. Not assuming the heavily discounted version is the same television that earned a strong review score 6 months ago. And at the top are the brands that deliver outstanding picture quality while making the ownership experience feel less like it's trying to extract something from you, and more like it's just trying to be a great television. The biggest takeaway from all of this isn't that smart TVs are secretly spying on everyone in some dramatic, alarming way. It's that most consumers never spend 5 minutes looking at the settings that determine how much information leaves their home. 5 minutes. That's usually all it takes to understand what's enabled by default and make the choices that are actually right for you. The TV aisle is not the problem. Buying the wrong model or buying the right model and never once opening the privacy settings is the problem. Before you buy, check the privacy settings on the model you're considering. Compare the exact model number against what was actually reviewed. And do not assume the cheapest version of a TV at any given retailer is the same product that scored well in the review you read online. If you're shopping for a new TV right now, drop the model number in the comments and I will tell you whether it's a safe buy or a trap worth avoiding. And if you value television content that goes beyond the marketing and the spec sheet, subscribe. Because the next TV deal you're looking at may not be exactly what it seems.